Okay, so this is video number 2. So obviously a lot of you enjoyed your night last night. Hopefully you didn't drink too much, but not many people have started their New Year's resolutions today. So I'm going to go through how you should set targets. So training without targets is like driving without knowing what destination you're going to get to. So we need to have set out what we plan to do with our training, otherwise we don't know if we've been successful or not. So what we use is a principle called the SMART principle. Okay, so it needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Okay, so then there needs to be a time limit to it. So I'm going to go through with you what mine are. I'm going to go through each one of those and tell you what mine are. But this can apply to anything. This could apply to stopping smoking. This could apply to your finances. Whatever your New Year's resolution is, this can apply to that. But as I said, this is my journey, so I'm going to go through with you what mine are. Okay, so specific. Now, that's quite a tough one with me because like I said in my first video, I've got a few issues going on. Mine is to cut out alcohol completely for the first few months and then get to a sensible level. Now, in terms of specificity, that's not very specific, okay? So I want to have an exact target there. So what I tell people to do with the specificity one is to have kind of an end goal and then break it down so you can go into smaller chunks. So the end goal would be to be sensible drinking, body fat low enough that I'm looking better, so I've got good definition, and generally feeling happier within myself. Happiness is the hard one to measure, but we can be specific with the other two. So I'm saying over here, long term, there, I'm going to have a long-term goals. There, long term, I'm going to say, I'm going to come to that in a minute with the attainable. I'm going to be quite ambitious. I want to say less than 14% body fat. I want BP, so my blood pressure, to be normal, obviously. At the moment it's dangerously high, and I'll talk to you about that in a bit in the next video when I actually do all my measurements when I'm at the gym tomorrow. So blood pressure of 120/80 and a resting pulse rate of a healthy level. So again, I'd say under 50, okay? So I've set myself my long term. Short term, I want things that I can achieve by the end of the 4 months. So by the end of the 4 months, realistically, am I going to be able to get my body fat from where it is at the moment, which if you've seen my Facebook page, when I did it a few months back, it was about 25%. So to knock off 11% in 4 months, is it realistic? Possibly not. So I'm going to say, I'm going to aim for 15%. So body fat, as low as I can, obviously, but I'm just going to be trying to be realistic. So body fat of 15% and blood pressure, I think I can get that down to that exact level. So 120/80. Excellent. Comes on to the next part. So it's specific. That's what I want. Is it measurable? Yes. I can measure my body fat on a set of body fat scales, and I can measure my blood pressure with a blood pressure monitor. So tick, it's measurable. If yours is something else, so it was something like, for instance, smoking, I'm going to come on to this a little bit later on, but it's getting a baseline. So measurability, if you say, right, I want to quit smoking, fine, that'll be your end goal in your long term. Short term, you want to set yourself targets. So in order to set targets, you need to find a baseline. So your baseline might be, right, at the moment I smoke 20 a day. Okay, so by the end of the 4 weeks, I want to be down to 5 a day. Measurable, okay? So make sure you can measure on there. Most things you can, like I said, with finances, you can measure that, you know how much money you've got, so measurable. Is it attainable? Now, a lot of people fail because they go for silly targets. And the amount of people I've had that have come in and said, I want to lose weight by the time I go on holiday. I want to have lost a stone in 2 weeks. Well, A, probably not attainable. Probably could do it if you really, really went for it, but not attainable for most people. And is it also not just attainable, but can you maintain that? Is it maintainable? Are you going to be losing that that amount of weight the whole time. So I've got a specific lady in mind, which I obviously won't say her name, but she always says, comes around to a holiday, she says, I want to lose weight and tone up. I want to get to this weight. I want to get to 10 stone, I think her target is. She always falls short of it. Next holiday comes around, goes again. But if she'd have lost a pound a week, rather than going for 2 stone in 2 weeks, a pound a week, by that holiday that she's always chasing, she would have lost the weight. Anyway, relevant. Now, this is a big one. This comes down to something which I'm going to talk to you guys a lot more about in some of the more psychological based, I was going to say lectures then, but vlogs. Does it mean something to you? So going back to mine, does it mean something? Well, as the more observant of you will have noticed, I've got visible representation of what I've done to myself. The liver is responsible for a lot of functions in the body. One of the functions is the immune system. So when the liver's not working properly, your immune system's down. Started with a strep, so a throat infection, and now I've got psoriasis over my body. It's everywhere. When I do my pictures tomorrow of my starting body fat and everything, my starting physique to measure, you'll see it's everywhere. It's horrible. I've had to buy lots of long sleeve tops, but for this particular video, I wanted to show I've got a visual representation of the fact that my liver's not working properly. I've got strained relationships with my family and friends. I don't feel confident in myself. I feel rubbish. I wouldn't want to go swimming and get this big fat gut out of the way. So, and health, my blood pressure's high. I'm not healthy. So relevant, very, very much so for me. And timed. Well, with these particular vlogs, I'm going for the 4 months. But you might then say you'd have again split into medium and long term. So you might say, here's our long term. I want to be here by 1 year. I'm going to split that up. I'm going to do it in 2 months. 2 months, I want to be at X point and work along. Okay, so that's how you do your targeting. And those are my targets. So it'll only get to the end of 4 months if we can see if I can hit the body fat of 15% or less and a healthy blood pressure. Okay, so I'll see you guys next time.